Now the next type of vegetation we have to discuss here is the tropical desert, right? Tropical desert type, or we also call it the thorn and scrub forest. Okay, now in what climatic conditions it is found? Again, the tropical. So tropical means it is moving around the temperature 25 to 27 degrees, right? You can say 24 to 27. That is the almost the average temperature is going almost same. A little variation is there in all. That means tropical. Clear? Now desert and scrub and thorn forest. For that, one thing is very important here, that is the variation in rainfall. Okay. Now this rainfall goes very low in this case. The rainfall has to be below 50 centimeters, and even when it goes below 25 centimeters, that is actually the region which is ideal for this type of desert, this type of vegetation. Desert type, or you can say the thorn and scrub vegetation or the forest, is found in such conditions where the rainfall is very less. Scanty rainfall region. Okay, the region of scanty rainfall. Now, what type of vegetations can be found in those areas? There, the vegetation which is found is called the xerophytic vegetation. Now, this xerophytic, Xerophytic, xerophytic vegetation is found there. And what are the important adaptations in the case of that? To survive, children, to survive in such a harsh climatic condition, the plants and trees actually adapt according to the surrounding atmospheric conditions. And in that, number one adaptation we can find is in the form of long roots, right? Most of the trees or the plants or whatever survives there in such conditions, most of these vegetations will have the long roots. What is the reason for that? In search of water, they go deep inside the soil. Okay, so that is number one. Number two is these all vegetations have small leaves, and most of the cases you'll find these leaves are modified into thorns. These have changed into छोटे छोटे पत्ते होते हैं, और ये मोस्टली you'll find these have changed into छोटे छोटे कांटों की तरह से ये चेंज हो जाते हैं. Okay, so these are a few other modifications. One more thing you'll find, children. Generally, the waxy stems are seen, or the leaves are also, in some cases, the waxy leaves can be seen. The reason for that is actually, again, they store water, right? When the leaves are small, in that case. But why now again, the leaves have become very small in size to reduce the rate of transpiration. In this way, they can save water for some time, because if leaves will be more, or you can say the size of leaves will increase, that will increase the transpiration also. So loss of water will be there. Okay, and that cannot be actually, this is going to be very risky for these plants and trees, right? So for that purpose, these are a few adaptations which we can find in all these trees, right? Now, what are the important species which we can find there, important species of trees? Especially the, you can say acacia trees, right, can be found there in such conditions. A few names are, suppose babool tree, you must have heard about it, babool, kikar. These are the trees which belong to that category. Okay, khair is again a type of tree which is found there in such dry conditions. Now come to the regions where this type of vegetation can be seen. You can see here the white colored part, right? The white colored part shows the region where the tropical desert, or you can say the thorn and scrub forest can be seen, right? This is the area. Now, western Rajasthan region, especially eastern Rajasthan, still gets some rainfall, but western Rajasthan is the driest part of it. So there you will find specifically this type of vegetation. Clear? Certain drier parts of Gujarat, okay, a part of Maharashtra also, which is very dry, Andhra, right, a part of Maharashtra, Andhra, which are actually getting very less rainfall. In those areas also you will find this type of vegetation, right? This is called the tropical thorn and scrub forest or tropical desert type vegetation. Now let's start another type of vegetation which is found in India, that is tidal or littoral forest. Okay, tidal forest. First of all, these forests are found in the coastal area, especially along the deltaic regions. Now, what are these and in what conditions they can survive? Again, these are tropical tidal forest or tropical littoral forest. So when we say tropical, again one thing comes in our mind that constantly the temperature which we were talking, temperature here also it remains very high. Generally the tropical temperature conditions are required here also. Number one, so you can see the average temperature which we can find here is almost 24 to 26, 27 degrees centigrade, right? That is the average temperature which is seen in such areas. Then come to the next one, that is the rainfall. Okay, now rainfall is here, you can say less than what is required for the evergreen forests, right? So generally the deciduous type of condition is seen here. Okay, deciduous type, if you remember that, tropical deciduous. 150 to 200 centimeters rainfall is required. Okay, but that is one part, children, the another important thing is that which influences this type of vegetation is more important, that is the location where these forests are found, the area where this type of vegetation can be seen. Now which type of areas have this type of vegetation? Especially the coastal areas. That means this type of vegetation can survive in the saline water as well as fresh water. Okay, this is one important feature of this type of vegetation. They can survive. This is the only type of vegetation which can survive in both, that is salty water as well as the fresh water. Number one. Number two, very, very important feature of it is the breathing roots. Okay, these vegetations generally you'll find here, most of the trees which are visible in the picture, they have got the roots which are coming up above the water, right, level of water. Now these are called the breathing roots. These are also called as pneumatophores. Now what is the importance of these breathing roots? They actually help in proper air circulation, right? Proper, you can say, respiration. They help in it. Clear? In swampy conditions, children, the plant or the tree actually is in danger of survival, right? Because proper air circulation is not there inside, so that the roots will get the carbon dioxide or oxygen. So for that purpose, what is done here? This is another adaptation, an example of adaptation which is found in this type of vegetations, right? The roots actually come up above the level of water or above the level of swampy surface, right? Swamp, दलदल area, right? दलदल, आपको पता होगा दलदल, दलदल वाले एरियाज में इस टाइप का वेजिटेशन मिलता है, ओके, या कोस्टल एरियाज में. Now when the roots come up, they actually help in proper inhaling, right? Acha, okay, besides this, one more important thing is that there are several stilt roots found here. Stilt. And these you can see very clearly in these pictures, this picture. Now when the stilt roots are there, they help in the stability, right? They actually support the plant or the tree to keep standing there in such areas. So these are a few important features again, and these are again hardwood trees, right? These are very dense and most of the time they remain green. Clear? Now come to the important species. What type of species are found in this type of vegetation? Number one is Sundari trees, right? Sundari trees, hintal, then several such other trees are found, especially, children, here you need to know one very important thing, that is, if you remember the Sundarban Delta, yes, Sundarban Delta, by what it is known, it has got its name. Sundarban Delta or the Ganga Brahmaputra Delta, world over it is famous, right? And it is the largest delta in the world. Now, this Sundarban Delta which we have, it has got its name by the Sundari trees only, right? You can see here a picture of Sundari tree. Now, this is actually the Sundari trees are basically found in large number in that area, okay? And since that time it is called as Sundar Van, okay? In Bengali it is called Sundarban, and after since that time it is called by the name, it has got its name only as Sundarban Delta. Okay, so basically the most important tree which is found there is the Sundari tree. Clear now? So Sundari tree is one of the important species which are found there. And hintal, again, this is quite similar to the Sundari trees. Okay, now in which areas these are found? This type of vegetation can be found. The deltas of Ganga and Brahmaputra, Krishna, Godavari, Kaveri, all the deltas which we can see along the eastern coastal area, all these deltaic regions are having this type of vegetations. Now let's move to the next one. Now the next one is montane type, or it is also many times called as montane. Okay, montane vegetation. Now, what is this vegetation? Generally, by the name only you must have got an idea. The vegetation which is found over the mountainous area, right? Because in India we are having several mountainous regions also, right? So over those areas, a little different type of vegetation is found, and that is named as montane type vegetation. Clear now? Okay. Now, in the Himalayan region especially, a little succession of vegetation type can be seen according to temperature and precipitation level. Okay, so the basic thing is temperature, precipitation, and with altitude, right? It keeps on changing. Okay, now along the foothill region, you can see here, along the foothill of the Himalayas where it is starting, you will find mostly the sal and teak trees can be seen. That means the deciduous, right, type of trees can be seen there at the base. As we go higher up, you will find the type of trees start changing towards the temperate type of vegetation. Temperate vegetation you can see here. And as we still go higher up, these change into coniferous type of trees. Okay, according to the altitude, the trees keep changing. Okay, as we keep on going higher and higher, the altitude keeps changing, and the precipitation also gets changed from rainfall to the snowfall. As we go still higher up, you will find the precipitation type changes from rainfall to snowfall. Okay, and so you'll find the type of trees start changing to the coniferous type of vegetation. You can see here from evergreen or from deciduous type, the trees start changing to oak, chestnut, then pine, deodar, fir, spruce, then fir, pine, right? In this way it keeps changing, and as we go higher up again, there we find the grasslands. Okay, at still higher altitudes we find the grasslands are there, and when we keep on moving up and up, there we find the lichens and the mosses. Now come to the regions where this type of vegetations can be seen, right? Here you can see the Nilgiris, Anaimalai hills, the important regions of the Himalayan region, right? Northeastern hills, right? Purvanchal hills. There we find whenever we reach to a particular height, right? When we cross that height, 3000 meters or so, we start getting this type of vegetation. Okay. Now it includes cedar, deodar, spruce, pine, larch. These are the main type of species, you can say, which are found in such conditions. Now that's all with the different types of vegetation, children, which we find in India. Now the question comes, what is the significance of forest? What is the significance of forest? Regarding the significance of forest, you should keep in mind a few different types of actually functions which are performed by the forest. Here a few functions have been mentioned. Number one is it purifies the air. It purifies the air always. That's why we say that whenever we plant the trees, they help to actually get rid of the pollution. They help in providing several major and minor products which we are getting directly from the forests. Different type of products. Then it provides raw material for several industries. Yes, it is very important source of raw materials. Clear? Then it is helping in proper regulation of several different cycles, life supporting cycles or life giving cycles. Like the most important one is the water cycle, then oxygen cycle, carbon cycle, nutrition cycle, nitrogen cycle. All these cycles have got forests as an important part of it. So there also the forests help in proper regulation of all these various cycles by which the life is actually surviving on earth. Then another important thing, children, it helps in recharging the groundwater. Whenever the rainfall occurs, it absorbs, right, the plants and trees or grasses, whatever vegetative cover is there on the surface, that helps in absorbing the water more and more, and ultimately it helps in recharging the groundwater. Okay, that again becomes very helpful for us. Then next is it prevents the flood conditions. Chances are reduced in an area which is having dense forested area, right? Then it helps in preventing soil erosion also, right? Because when any area is full of vegetative cover, what is the use of it? They actually, the trees and plants and the grasses, they actually, their roots, they hold the soil together, and they don't allow the soil to become loose and go along with the water or by with the wind. So they help in reducing the soil erosion to a great extent, right? And after this, a very important use of forest is that they work as a shelter for the wildlife. Okay, they are also helping us to provide shelter for a large number of wildlife. Okay, so overall, children, these can be categorized. All these functions can be categorized into certain headings, right? Number one is the, yes, productive function. Number one is productive function. That means when the forests provide various products, right, or the raw materials for various industries, that is coming under this category, productive function. Number two is protective function, right? When it protects us from the floods, when it protects the soil erosion, right? When it protects the soil from getting eroded, okay? When it protects us from the landslides and all. Clear? So all these things are coming under the protective functions of the forest. Number three is regulatory functions. Regulatory. Now what is in that? Regulatory functions include all the functions where the forest is helping for improper regulation of the different life supporting cycles. Okay, so that is taken as regulatory function. Clear? And one more is their accessory function, where it provides the you can say habitat for a large number of wildlife. If the forests are not there, for a moment if you think of it, what will happen? All the wildlife which is actually surviving there in the forested area, they will start moving here and there. So for them, the forest is providing a habitat overall, right? So this is again a very, very important function which we need to keep in mind. Now, come to the next topic of it, right? For that, you should understand these days, children, the deforestation is going on a large scale all over the world, right? Continuously, the trees are actually being cleared from the surface, from the earth's surface. Whatever may be the reason, the most important reason is the various industries, right? Number one, for providing the raw materials to the industries, it is being done. Number one is this reason. Number two, the very important reason is that to get more and more area for the development of various settlements, right? For the growing population. This is number two. Moreover, for feeding that large population, we need more and more agricultural area, right? And to get more agricultural area, what we do is we just clear all the forested area and we start using for the agriculture purpose. Okay, children. So this is again one very important reason behind the deforestation which is going on, right? So these are a few things, children, which are actually something which we need to discuss, right? In various countries, children, now the forest policies have been made, and the people have to follow certain laws and regulations, right? Cutting down of green trees have been made illegal, okay, and just clearing all the forested area without thinking of anything, that has become illegal, that has become very difficult for the people, right? Several areas have been covered under now the various authorities, right? Several forests have been actually covered under the protected forest, the reserved forest. In this manner, certain forested areas are now being covered. Okay, children. So several steps are also being taken from the government side, but still, this is not sufficient, right? You can just imagine, out of the 33%, minimum level of forest area in any of the countries has been fixed to 33%. But here in India, almost it reaches now to 20%, or at the most 24%. Children, the total forested area what we expect to have a very good environment, to have a balance, right, in the entire ecosystem, is actually required 33%. But at present it's going almost, it has reached around 20%, right, of the forested area. So this is actually a matter of great concern for all of us. Okay, because it's not just the survival of the human beings. It is actually you can say something which is going to create problems for the survival of the other living beings also. So for the entire biosphere, it's going to create problem. For that purpose, what main steps we have taken? A few steps which are being taken, these are mentioned here. Number one is afforestation. This is one of those steps which are taken by the different authorities, different governments, to get rid of this problem. Okay. Now the first thing is afforestation. What is afforestation? See, for that you should understand deforestation. Deforestation means D. D means cutting down of forest, right? When we say afforestation, that means we cover any open area for the forested area. That means any region which is not having any vegetation at all, any area which is not having any vegetation, just lying waste, that entire area is brought under plantation. All that area is taken under the plantation, and that is called afforestation. That means more and more new areas are taken up for the forested area. Clear? This is one. Number two is social forestry. Now, social forestry is something very, very important these days, right? Now, what is actually the meaning of social forestry? You should understand one thing. It is the forest which is for the people, by the people, and of the people. Now, let me explain that how it is for the people, by the people, and of the people. First of all, children, what the governments have done is that the local people, many people are actually the poor people, and they are not having any land holdings with them. Okay, they don't have any land to do the farming. So these people are actually leading a very difficult life. So for them, a source has been provided for earning their livelihood, right? And what has been done, that the plantations has been done in the area which was lying without any vegetation. Okay, it can be in the villages, it can be in the cities and all, right? Generally, in those areas when the any open area has been used for the plantation, right? So these trees or the plants which are planted there, these are actually planted by this group of people only. Number one. So what has been done? The plants have been, actually these trees have been planted by these people. So it is by the people. Clear? Moreover, they actually protect these trees as if it belongs to them, right? They are their property. Just like that, they actually protect that. Okay. So what they do is they are keeping those trees without any, you can say, no such harm anybody can do to these trees, right? So it is of the people. Now, what is for the people? For the people means the trees. Now the trees, when they grow up, whatever things they provide, whatever products they provide, right? All these are being used up by these people only. Different raw materials they are getting, or by selling out the leaves or the firewood or whatever they are getting, the fruits and all, whatever they get from that trees, these trees are actually for, all these are being provided by the trees for this group of people. Okay, so in this way, what are the main purposes being fulfilled, children? Number one is that this initiative which has been taken, this is helping to protect a group of people, right, to lead a better life. Clear? Number one. Number two is that, children, this is actually a very strong initiative which has been taken to protect the environment. Just think on the other side of it, right? Somehow, in any condition, these trees are being protected. Understood, children? And this is very, very important thing, because we need to protect the trees at this time. Clear? So this is how both the purposes are being fulfilled in this manner. Clear? And moreover, the wasteland or any open area which was of no use at all, now that land area has been used up for planting the trees. Understood? So this way, children, no loss is there, and in this way we are actually helping the entire society, we are helping the entire ecosystem as a whole, right? Now come to the next point, that is by controlling the shifting cultivation. Okay, how we can actually conserve the forest. What is shifting cultivation? Shifting cultivation is a type of cultivation which is done in especially the forested and the hilly areas, and you can say the interior parts of the forested areas where mostly the tribal people live, right? This is a practice which is done by the tribal people. Okay, now what these people do, they don't use, any of the modern methods of cultivation. So what type of cultivation they do is, they, because they live in forested area, so if they want to do the agriculture in any part, they clear off the forest, right? First step what they do is they just clear all the forested area, they cut all that, right? Now whatever undergrowths are there, whatever small bushes and all these are present over the surface, they just burn it off, right? And that's why this type of cultivation is also many times called as slash and burn cultivation, right? Shifting cultivation is also known by the name slash and burn cultivation. Clear? Now in this what happens then, once they have cleared all the area, now they actually burn all the left out, you can say the small the plants and the bushes and all, right? This is how they just get a clear land area. Now that land area is used for growing of the crops. Now, how they grow the crops? They just spread the seeds in the entire area. They don't use any very advanced methods, not even any of the machineries, not any of the, you can say, additional methods so that to get more and more production. No, right? They just spread the seeds there. Okay. Now, once the seeds have been actually spread over in that area, now they just leave it like that. Okay, at the most what they do is, for digging out the land or to actually mix the soil, what they do is they have got a few tools, right, made up of wood or the rocks. With the help of that they mix the soil. Now they just depend totally on nature. They don't provide any input in the form of any fertilizer or manure and all, nothing, right? Now even they are not providing any additional source of irrigation. They totally depend on nature. That means whenever the rainfall occurs, the crops will grow by on that water, right? With the help of that water they are going to grow. Now when the rainfall occurs, these seeds get some water and they grow up. Now for a few months they wait, and after that when the crops are ready to harvest, they cut it, right? The harvesting is done. Now what is the more important here, children? For 2 to 3 years, or at the most 4 years, right? They keep on doing the same way. Clear? In one area. Now after 3 to 4 years, automatically the production gets less, right? Because we are not these people are not providing any of the inputs, right? So the soil actually becomes less fertile now, and so the production gets affected by that, right? So as they feel that the third or fourth year, now the production has become less, they just leave the land like that only, without any vegetation, without any such cover, right? They just leave the land like that and they shift to some other area. Again the same process will be done in the other area. Again the forest will be cleared, the entire you can say small plants, herbs and the grasses and all that will be cleared off. Again the same method will be done. Now the thing is that, children, this type of cultivation, because they keep shifting from one place to the other, that's why it is also called by, well known by the name, shifting cultivation. Okay, shifting cultivation. Now what is more important here, children? Shifting cultivation is okay for those people, it's providing some actually food grains to actually survive. But the other side of it is very, very dangerous, because in most of these areas you'll find these are hilly areas, right? These are densely forested areas where this type of thing is done more and more by the tribal people, right? So what happens in those areas is, actually these areas are getting cleared off by forest cover. And moreover, children, when this thing is done, over the slopes, the trees are being cleared, right? So that area is more prone to soil erosion, because most of these areas, when they get heavy rainfalls, the soil which is actually now naked, right? It is not covered with any vegetation, and moreover, it is having a slope. So there, more chances of soil erosion increase. Understood, children? That's why we say that certain steps should be taken to stop or to reduce or to control this type of practice, right? And in many of the countries, the several steps have been taken, the laws have been made, which have actually banned the shifting cultivation. Okay, it's not only practiced in India, it is practiced in India, most of the countries of Southeast Asia. Okay, Indonesia, then Malaysia, right? These are the countries which are suffering with this problem. Okay, so this can be one of the steps which we can take to conserve the forested area. Now, the social forestry, just now I discussed, children, in the earlier part. Now come to agroforestry. Now, what is agroforestry? These are actually, you can say, in any such open area, right? When the crops are grown, right? Crops are cultivated. Now, what type of crops? Especially, children, when the trees are already there, right? The trees are already there. In between the trees, you'll find several open areas are lying. Open land is there, which is not having any such use. Okay, that land is used up by these people to grow certain crops. In between the trees, the space which is there, okay, that is being used up to grow certain crops, and in certain cases the livestock are also actually maintained, or you can say the animals are also domesticated, which are dependent on these areas, right? Now, that is actually called, when we use the land, in two ways. One side, the trees are already there. Okay, the forested areas, the trees are there, or the in the orchards generally you'll find this type of practice is done a lot, right? So the trees are already there. Along with that, we use that land for growing certain crops. Okay, for actually developing certain, you can say, the domestication of animals and all. So in that case, it is called as agroforestry. That particular practice is called by the name agroforestry. Now, afforestation, also a term which we have discussed just now, but reforestation, a new term now for you. What is reforestation? Re. By that, again, you must have got some idea. Reforestation means in an area which was earlier under forest, right? Because of any reason it has been cleared, there once again the plantation is done, right? Or it can be taken as a way when suppose the cutting down of forest is being done, at the same time, in the place of every tree which is being cut, a new plant is grown there. Okay, the plantation is done side by side. So in this way, what we are doing? We are not doing the deforestation. Simply, you can explain it in this way. On one side, we are cutting down the trees, right? But we are again reforesting that area, right? Reforestation is being done. That means the same area is brought under forested area, right? That area is being developed into again a forest. Clear now? And that particular practice is called as reforestation. So these are a few important terms. Deforestation, you all know, right? Next is afforestation and reforestation. Clear? And a few other terms are social forestry and agroforestry. So children, this is all with the topic, the natural vegetations of India. So once again, I would request, if you find this video anyhow it is useful for you and it is helpful for the other friends of yours, you can share the link of this video, right? And don't forget to subscribe this channel and press the bell icon so that you will get the notifications as a new video is uploaded by me in this channel. So bye children.